Thank you for this opportunity to share with you my thoughts about the new ICRT China and to say how honoured I am to have been asked to be its first director. Responsible tourism is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk first about what defines it. I want to talk then about ICRT China, about the platform for change, which we're just launching with the World Travel Market out of London. I want to talk about this year's Responsible Tourism Awards, and I want to talk about what I think the future plans of the ICRT China should be. They focus, I think, around three things: launching next year East Asia Awards, the platform for change, and growing the ICRT China. So what, first of all, defines responsible tourism? Sustainability is the ambition. Responsible tourism is about what we do as producers, as businesses and destinations, and as consumers, as travellers and tourists, to realise the aspiration of responsible tourism. It's not the same thing as sustainable tourism, because responsibility requires that we say what we're doing to make tourism better and that we're transparent about what we achieve. And sustainable tourism often doesn't require that. The agenda is broad across the economic, social and environmental pillars of sustainability. I'm intrigued by the similarities between the understanding of responsibility in Chinese and the European understanding. The balance is different in almost every language group, but it always means the burden of responsibility and the willingness, and it's very strong in Confucian thought as I understand it, to shoulder responsibility, to assume the role, to be trustworthy and faithful to the objective, and the notion that you are entrusted and given confidence by others because of what you are willing to do to achieve the objective. That, I think, is a great asset of China and of Chinese understanding. And it's one that we share in some parts of Europe, although not in all. So the ICRT China, which I'm so proud to be associated with, is part of an international network. It was set up as a network following the Cape Town Declaration, and it accepts from the very beginning a fundamental principle, which is that the world is a diverse place in cultures, habitats and species, and that it's that wealth of cultural and natural heritage which is the very basis of tourism. If everywhere was the same, then there'd be little point in travelling. We accept that responsible and sustainable tourism will be achieved in different ways in different places. The salience and the importance of the different issues varies from place to place, affected by the cultural and the natural environment, and not surprisingly, as a consequence, the solutions vary too. The platform for change, which is new this year, is an opportunity to present on a global platform examples of things which have worked. We're looking for proven solutions because the world needs to speed up its acceptance of the principles of sustainability and to take responsibility for achieving it. So a credible proven solution will have a clearly defined problem or an opportunity to use tourism to make things better for hosts and their natural and cultural environment. The solution will be tried and tested. It will be presented in enough detail that it can be adapted and replicated, and that proven by transparency about the extent of the responsibility taken with demonstrable evidence of the impact of the initiative. And too often sustainability claims lack that. This year we had the Responsible Tourism Awards, and we've had a significant number of applications from China, despite the fact that we reached out and managed to interact with China rather late in the process. We got 32 applications from China in each of the categories, and the numbers are there. We worked with the China Biodiversity Conservation and Green Development Foundation, and also with COTRI, which is the Outbound Tourism Research Institute. And I'm glad that they've joined with us in the International Centre for Responsible Tourism. So in the Decarbonising travel and tourism, I'd want to recognise as the best of the entries that we saw from China, the Carbon Cabin, a carbon neutral recycling station based in Sichuan and working across Yunnan. Founded in 2012, working with the UNFCCC, they've shared the concept of waste sorting and carbon neutrality with over 10 million people. It's the scale of that and the thoroughness with which it's done which makes it worthy of recognition. In terms of sustaining employees through the pandemic, we were really struck by the Best Village, which didn't reduce its staffing or the wages it paid during the pandemic. It's supported over 250 medical workers with room nights at the village and shown their thanks and respect for all the other medical workers by offering these discounts on accommodation and food. The Destinations Building Back Better category, the one that stood out for me was Gaochun International Citterslow high quality homestay village. I think this growth of the homestay experience was increasingly important around the world as people seek to understand the experiences which it is possible to have in rural areas. A more and more urbanized population looks increasingly for these homestay experiences of the countryside. It's happening all around the world where people are moving from rural areas into cities. That desire particularly to share with their children the experience of a rural lifestyle is strong. And of course, rural out-migration into cities is a problem in many places around the world. And one of the ways of addressing that is to create jobs and livelihoods and vitality through tourism. The increasing diversity in tourism one, I think the Cultural Tourism Resources Unit stands out in that. For over 7 years, they've generated at scale with multiple partners and over 600 local governments celebrating cultural tourism and raising funds and government support to plan the tourism industry. Then there's reducing plastic waste in the environment, and here the one that stood out for us, the one we wanted to recognise, was Chao Sanlitun Beijing, which has eliminated single-use plastic from all customer services and experiences, particularly taken with the idea of the bamboo guest key card and the fact that they're offering low carbon transportation, waste and recycling. It's a great example of really good work being done in China, and one that needs to be understood internationally. Then there's the growing the local economic benefit category, where there was a very wide range of good entries in this category. So I wanted to recognise 3 in this category. The Beijing Wangshan Investment Company for reversing the depopulation and decline through local economic development, which I think is a great international example. The GAPA International offers a range of volunteering opportunities in 20 developing countries focused on the SDGs. What's really striking about this is that even during the time when they cannot meet, they've managed to do it with an online volunteering program, which has been a rarity and an important one in the context of the changes which COVID has brought. And then the Linden Centre in Yunnan for its work internationally as a social enterprise, providing education and partnering with local governments and communities to create experiences that benefit both the visitors and the local people, and to build international understanding at a time when this is critically needed. So what do I think should be the future plans for the ICRT China? The first thing I think is that it would be really good to see East Asia Awards running next year. I've just this morning been talking with an organisation in Indonesia which is keen to be part of this as well. We have Responsible Tourism Awards in India, and it's arguably the country which has made the most progress with responsible tourism over the last 10 years. Our ambition internationally is to create a regional award programme for East Asia, and we should, I think, consider, as the ICRT China, providing some training on responsible tourism and how to present it to consumers so as to get the biggest possible benefit from the responsible actions being taken by businesses. I think the ICRT movement internationally has a lot to contribute to that aspect of responsible tourism. The platform for change is really just beginning, and China is at least in at the beginning of this one. The awards have been going since 2004, but we are just in 2021 launching the responsible tourism platform for change. It's a solutions platform. It's designed to accelerate change in travel and tourism. And I think there is a lot for the world to learn from China. But in order for that learning to happen, we need to be able to showcase good examples from China, which have got something to offer the rest of the world. Some of this year's applications clearly do that. So we're looking to showcase solutions that businesses and destinations have developed and proven, and which can be replicated and adapted in order that collectively around the world we can accelerate change on the major crises that affect us all: biodiversity loss, climate change, and the need to include more of the world's population in securing a decent standard of living. These are big challenges, and only by working together and learning from each other can we hope to achieve these changes. So the objective is to showcase solutions that businesses and destinations have proved and can be used. And what we want to ensure is that there is dialogue about the issues and solutions within East Asia and between China, East Asia, and the world's other destinations. In terms of future plans for the ICRT China, I think one of the important things is to think about South-South exchange. I was very heartened in looking at the applications for the awards to see there are a number of Chinese businesses which are already working internationally with developing countries around what could easily be understood as good examples of South-South exchange. There's the importance of advocacy, running conferences and workshops to disseminate information through print and other media about the principles and practices of responsible tourism, probably based off the platform for change. The importance of research, because without being able to demonstrate that these initiatives really do make a difference, we won't secure the support of potential funders and so on. And then finally, training. And I do think this is a key part of the ICRT China's first initiatives, is to develop training programs which help at all levels for people to understand about responsible tourism, from universities to schools. We really need to work with the formal education system, but also informally with businesses and so on, putting on training programs which are relevant to their needs and which advance the principles of responsible tourism. So thank you very much for listening. There's an awful lot of information in English on the Responsible Tourism Partnership, which is, if you like, the global hub for the International Centres for Responsible Tourism. I hope that in time we shall quickly begin to have a Chinese section of the website, just as we have a section focused on India, and very happy to ensure that the Chinese material being translated currently by Maggie and others will appear on this site. Thank you very much for listening.